Welcome to Charging the Agency Frontier. Today I'll be interviewing Steve Heroux with more than 22 years of success in sales and sales leadership. He's generated tens of millions of dollars in sales. He's helped thousands of salespeople achieve success and reach the top 1% of his field in multiple industries. Steve and his organization help their clients maximize the performance of their sales organizations through cutting-edge content delivery, sales team and sales management development, and recruiting and hiring optimization. There's a lot more that I could add to that, but I'll pass over the mic to you and let you add a little color to your intro, a little backstory.
Thanks, man. So yeah, I mean, the coolest part about what we do is we kind of combine emotional intelligence, science, and sales performance together. I think that the best analogy I can give you from what I've seen in the field of sales training is, let's say you snowboarding, whatever, surfing, you hurt your knee real bad. You can't walk, something's wrong. So you go to the doctor, she doesn't look at you, she doesn't examine you, she doesn't give you an MRI and says, hey, Robby, I'll see you for surgery tomorrow at 7. You'll probably run out of that office. But that is what 99% of sales trainers do. They have no idea what's wrong, not interested in finding out what's causing these issues, and just says, oh, we've got the perfect solution. We've got the blank system, or we've got this selling, without having any idea. Is it process? Is it service? Is it product? Is it hiring? Is it management? Is it leadership? Is it pitch? Is it elevator? Is it value? What is it? So we take a completely different approach and actually use tools to help diagnose what the issues are of why these clients and companies are not hitting quota. And then, and only then, can we attempt to coach, train, and teach to those issues. I think even myself, there was a little bit of arrogance and ego before, thinking we can just fix anything. But when you don't know what's wrong, how the hell are you going to fix it? And so that's where we're really doing things that are a lot different than what most companies do in terms of sales training and development.
Love it. That's awesome. Clearly, you're a sales guy. I can tell just because you can articulate it well. So you're obviously passionate too about what you do. What is it that drives that passion?
It's funny, I just got asked this question at my last meeting, and they could tell. They're like, man, you got a fire for this. And I think the overall goal mantra of what we want to do at Victory Selling is literally change the perception of salespeople. And I know that's quite a large task, but we already know the perception of salespeople that will never, ever change. Used car salesmen, the ABC crap, all this stuff that's still on social media, that's still permeating through our society. People don't like salespeople for a reason, because nobody likes to be closed. They don't want to feel like they got taken. And that's still the way a lot of sales is taught. And if the sales managers were taught that way, they're going to teach their people that way. So we have to completely change that mantra, that culture of always be closing. That's just crap. Right? I'm trying to be polite, not swear. But it really is true. People don't understand that you can be honest, you can have integrity, you can have humility, and still build an extremely successful sales organization with those 3 ideas and morals. And it's just weird to see the opposite still happening all over the place in the events and social media and all this stuff. And so it's quite a big task to do that, to change the perception of salespeople, but that's really what we want to do.
Nothing like a good challenge. That's awesome.
That's a big one.
Why is it so important for you to get your message out there, to share with the business world your unique style of training?
I think it's I don't say like a personal crusade, but to be able to be that leader in terms of a new movement in selling, again, like a nice guy, right? We've all heard this nice guys finish last kind of thing. And listen, a lot of our clients, it's 99% referrals. I mean, what is better than that? And so we don't need to sell everybody, right? We don't need to have everyone as our client, but we want to get the word out there that there are different tools that are able to help clients really maximize the performance of their sales team, but they've just never seen them yet. We've seen all the DISC profiles, Myers-Briggs, PI, all these other assessment tools, that have absolutely nothing to do with somebody's ability to sell a service or product. Nothing. They can say they do, but they don't. There's no scientific proof. There's no third-party credibility. There's no validity. It's literally the corner market saying world's greatest pie. Oh, who voted you that? Oh, we did. And that's what all these other assessments do, right? Oh, he's a purple. He'll be good at sales. She's a high D. She'll be great. Let's hire her, which there is, again, is nothing behind that. So the tools we use are specific in figuring out what's the salesperson inside of the person. All these other tools, they just talk about people in a social setting. The ones that we use can literally dive down and tell us exactly where people are short, exactly what they're lacking, so we can start helping them on whatever it might be, their mindsets, their self-limiting beliefs, their skill set, their process. That's what this tool does. We call it a sales DNA test, by the way. That's what we do. And it's been just crazy to see the results and what people never knew about themselves. And literally every person, every company is like, I wish I knew about this 20 years ago. And so it's just bringing something new to the market that's been around, but nobody seems to know about it. So that's where we're really excited to share this with people.
Love it. All right. Would you say most companies and salespeople hit their goals or don't hit their goals? And if not, what's the main reason?
So roughly 75% of companies don't hit their goals. About 23% of salespeople exceed their quota. So most of people are not hitting their numbers. And the reason is they're not diving into why they're not hitting numbers. They just do the age-old BS of, we just need to make more calls and sales is a numbers game and all this garbage. That is not true. Sales is a skills game. It is not a numbers game. And if you keep telling your people that, you're killing their productivity. And the easiest analogy I can give you is Charles Barkley. If you've ever seen Charles Barkley swing a golf club, I mean, holy crap, right? I mean, it looks like a baby giraffe trying to stand up. I mean, it's just, you feel pain for him. And Charles Barkley's been playing golf for 25 years, and he's terrible, right? He's worse today than he was 10 years ago. But he's hit 3 million golf balls. It's not a numbers game. If it was, he'd be a 5 handicap. Yeah. He's got to fix his swing. And most companies, they don't want to fix the swing. They just keep going to the range and doing the wrong thing. We need to make more calls, Robby. We need to get out there and pound the pavement. No, we've got to figure out what's wrong and then fix that. And then if we do more calls, but they're skilled calls, then we crush it. And that's the stuff that I keep seeing permeating through organizations all the way up to senior level. And so we just got to take a different approach, right? Completely different approach.
That's awesome. Awesome insight. I love the analogy.
Yeah, I'm thinking of his swing now. It's painful.
Yeah. I haven't seen his swing. But I can
YouTube
imagine.
it. It's
in my
really,
head. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll look it up.
Look
it up. So I think some of this has come out already in the discussion, but there are obviously a lot of sales trainers and sales resources in the markets. What makes you different than everybody else?
I think if we would kind of cover it 2 ways, right? The first one is not pretending that I know what's wrong. And a lot of the other things out there, the systems and the courses and all this kind of stuff, it's like, use my thing and you'll 10x and all this other BS that isn't true. We got to figure out what is wrong first, right? That's kind of step 1 if we're working with a client. However, if we're working with an individual, the thing that I want to get across is my content is not Steve's way or the highway. And, as you mentioned, right, I've had success in sales. I was number 1 in the country with Cutco knives. I was number 1 in the country with Aflac. And I've had a lot of success in sales, but I understood that I need to learn more. If I want to get better, I got to learn from other people that are doing it. So a lot of my content, I spent the last year doing a modern day Napoleon Hill type of thing, where I was interviewing hundreds of 6 and 7 figure salespeople in all different industries, all across the country, in all different markets, to find out what they were doing to have success in 2019. What are their processes, their strategies, their habits? How do they follow up? How do they cold call? How do they network? How do they send thank you notes? I literally figured out all the best practices of the top 10% of salespeople, and I took all that data and built all of that into my content and into my courses, into Six Figure Sales Accelerator. And so the reason that I named my course Six Figure Sales Accelerator is because we can get people to routinely make six figures. It's not about, oh, let's make $10 million and I can 10 all this other garbage, right? Can we get people from 60, 70 grand to 100, 110? But can we keep you at 100, 110, 130? Can we keep you growing and consistent, right? And most people think like six figures, it's easy. It's not easy. Only 12% of salespeople make six figures. But if you look at social media, they make you look like a loser. Then we can make 7 figures. And this is coming from a guy in his parents' basement who's never sold anything. And so it's important to understand that not only have I lived it, done it, breathed it, I've reached out to people that did way better than me so I could learn how to use those tools that help them become successful. And so that's where I think we're different, is it's taking everybody into consideration and all the best practices, and then teaching my clients what other great men and women are doing. It's not all about what I do, because maybe what I do doesn't work for somebody, right? Maybe what someone else does doesn't work for me. So it's about giving them all the options of what works, and then you guys just pick what you want.
Gotcha. And can you talk to me a little bit about kind of price point for your services? If you're an individual working with you or doing the program, if you're working with an agency or sales department, within a brand, what does that look like from a price perspective? What kind of
maybe we could start. We start corporate wise, and it's funny because I ask companies a lot of times they've never really invested in sales training, or if they have, it's the same old crap. It's like, I tell them, I'm like, listen, Robby, if you want me to come to your meeting or come do an event or train your team, and you want me to break boards, and you want me to stand up on a chair and yell, and you want me to walk on some fire, listen, we're not going to do that. That's not going to help you, right? So we've got to make sure that people understand there's so much more to learning how to sell than getting people pumped up and motivated and psyched and all that stuff. And that's not going to last long term. And so with a client, typically I'll even ask them, I'll say, what are you paying your worst salesperson? And they'll typically say 60,000, 50,000, 70,000, right? How long have they been here? Too long, or 2 years, or whatever. So we're in 100K for one crappy salesperson. That's just one. What we can do for a company, entirely overhaul their process, do DNA tests on every single one of their salespeople and sales leaders, create a modernized, customizable training platform, branded to them, their name, their logo. Each individual salesperson gets their own login with their own content, because we can customize the content for each salesperson based on what their sales DNA told us. So it's not just generic run-of-the-mill stuff. And so when we do that, typically if a company is a $10 million company, let's say, and their worst salesperson is making 60 grand, we could pretty much train their entire sales team, overhaul what they're doing, teaching, training for probably a fifth of that. So the price points, I use this example too. Another thing I ask them is, how much did you spend on your Christmas party? And a friend of mine told me he just spent $27,000 on his Christmas party. And we talked about doing this sales DNA test for his entire team, and it was maybe 8 grand. So a quarter, a third of what it cost them to do a Christmas party, and no lawsuits come from it.
Exactly.
So on the company side, it's such a small price and such a huge ROI. On an individual side, one of the cool things we started doing are these sales DNA tests with a coaching call combined with it. so they can understand what's been holding them back all these years. And I was trying to figure out the price, and I'm like, okay, people spend $300, $400, $500, $1,000, $3,000, $10,000 for a weekend event, and those people will remain nameless, which you know. That isn't going to help them figure out inside, why can't I close, right? So we do that sales DNA test and that hour-long coaching call for $497. We also tell people too, by the way, in all of our stuff, listen, if you don't think it's worth it, here's your money back. I mean, we're fully transparent. We know it's going to help people, but if they don't think it is, dude, here you go, man. And the course itself, Six Figure Sales Accelerator, is $1997. And so when we talk to people about how much they've invested in themselves, again, most people don't spend money on themselves, and we tell them, hey, okay, it's $2,000. Many of them have spent that in other things, events, and so on. But I know people that stood in line for 3 days to get an iPhone for $1,500, and they still don't know how to use the one that they bought last year that they stood in line for 4 days for. Right. But they'll spend $1,500 on this. Right. But they won't spend $1,500 to go from 80 grand to 140, right? And so we just look for the people that understand that they need to invest in themselves. And we were talking, before this call with another gentleman, was like, how much did you spend to build all this infrastructure out and use Lightspeed for your training and record all your content? And it's a ton of dough, right? 6 figures plus. But if I want to be world class, right? We want Victory Selling to change the game. So we got to invest. We need the tools, just like a salesperson. If you want to make consistent 6 figures, you've got to invest. And by the way, $2,000 won't even cover your books for your first class in law school. And I'll ask you this, Robby. Do you know what the median attorney earns? Median salary for an attorney?
120.
Close. 108. But what do you have to do? Oh, just 7 years of school, just $300,000, no big deal. Then you get to earn 108, right?
Yep.
A doctor's 10 years and $400,000. And a doctor's median salary is 188. But a salesperson will balk at $2,000 to make that or more without having to spend 7 years. And so it's all perspective, right? And so we just look for people that see value in investing in their skill sets, mindsets, belief systems. And I think that's why we have such great results with people.
Yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense. I've been in the agency business for 20 years and was an agency owner of 10 years and in leadership roles on the sales and marketing side, matchmaker the last 6.5 years. And sales is, really the name of the game for me personally. And it's taken years to refine and so much, working with coaches, working with consultants, working with reading books. Just constantly investing in myself and back into what I'm doing. And it makes a huge difference, obviously, in terms of what's possible. So
think about what you guys do, Robby. Sorry, buddy. Think about what you guys do as marketing agencies, right? People pay you, right, and companies and agencies to get them leads, right? And so you'd probably figure, well, maybe we should learn how to actually convert the leads. But they don't do that. They just say, we need more leads. If I cannot tell you how many salespeople have told me, oh, I just need more leads. I just need more leads. Listen, if you keep pouring water into an empty bucket, right, with holes in the bottom, right, it's still going to be empty. You got to fix the holes. You can't just buy more leads. And so that's why we work with a lot of different marketing companies and other partners that they understand, listen, the sales team is important. The leads are only as good as the salespeople closing the leads. And so companies still spend tons and tons of dough on marketing, which we have to do. But we got to get an ROI on the marketing dollars. And if we can get $3 or $5 instead of $2 for every dollar we spend, it's such a small investment to fix that ratio. Hell, we can go from 5 to 1 to 10 to 1. Geez, now we can get more leads because we're closing double the leads. So It's all tied in together. They're two different animals, marketing and sales, but they have to work together, right? They have to work together. One is just not enough.
Yeah, totally agree. I have time probably for two more questions. So first one is to play devil's advocate. When a company says we have a sales manager already, why do we need you? What's your response?
So I think that's a really great question. And it's funny that the companies that say that to me typically aren't hitting numbers, right? And it's quite a simple answer. It's like, Robby, you just told me you haven't hit numbers in 6 quarters. I'm here to help your sales manager, right? I'm your friend. Sales managers, most of the ones that I know, are spread too thin. It's not that they don't want to help or can't help or whatnot, but they just don't have the bandwidth, right? That's one thing, because you can't spend all day, every day with all your people, right? You've got to have other functions. And the second thing is this is an epidemic in sales. Many companies, they just take their best salesperson and make them the sales manager, right? These are two completely different skill sets. And it's literally like saying to somebody, hey, Robby, I know you're a point guard. Why don't you play center the rest of the year?
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? Well, yeah, you're good at basketball. Just play center. Like, so there's not a lot of support I see when sales managers get hired or promoted or whatever, because they've never learned how to coach, to lead, to inspire, to relate, to have people's backs. And so that's a huge part of what we do, because part of our stuff is teaching and training sales managers how to be leaders, not how to be managers. Right? So that's a big thing we'd love to keep helping companies with.
Love it. All right. So another question I wanted to get to is clients, friends, colleagues, peers, all the time find it hard to get good salespeople and hire good salespeople. Do you have any advice for those struggling with making a hire?
Man, it is huge. And it's not, I don't know, we have tons of time, but I'll kind of give you the Cliff's Notes version. One of the tools that we use, we call it a candidate assessment. And so many companies, they can't find good salespeople and they don't know why. The problem is it's their entire process, right? It's from second one where they're not writing the ad properly. Right? If you don't have the right verbiage in the ad, you're not going to attract the right candidates. Second thing is they don't know how to do the evaluating of the salespeople. So they're hiring for a position, they get 50 resumes, and they look at the resume, spend all this time on resumes trying to figure out who should we talk to, who should we not. Some companies even have programs where they run a resume through a scanner that picks out keywords. Well, here's the weird part. 70% of resumes are BS. 70%. So you can't even use a resume because most of them are fake. So what we do is instead of that, we kind of teach people the process from the beginning of, listen, you're not even going to look at a resume. We're going to create an assessment tool for you that you're going to send immediately to your candidates. But what's cool about the tool we use is we take input from the client first. We say, Robby, tell me what you're looking for in your ideal medical device salesperson in Poughkeepsie, New York with this market. So we're taking your ideal version of what that salesperson should look like. Then we match that with the 1.9 million salespeople worth of data we've already evaluated. And we know where the top 10% are in terms of skill sets, mindsets, belief system. We then build that assessment specific to that sales role in that city with that clientele. And so that's what we measure the candidates on. And the crazy part is when clients use these assessment tools, we can't tell them who to hire, obviously, but we give them a recommendation. It's either really highly recommend you interview Robby, maybe you interview him, maybe you don't. Do not waste your time with this guy. And here's the math, and this is crazy. And when I found out about this, it blew my mind. Of 30 years of data we have, almost 2 million salespeople, 30,000 companies, of all the people we have ever told our clients, we highly recommend you interview this guy or gal, and they hire them, 91% of them will be in the top half of your sales force within 1 year. 91%. And by the way, that entire process program that we teach is probably 1/4 of what it will cost them to hire and replace one employee one time, right? No more recruiters, no more guessing, no more interview bias going, oh, this guy's a Red Sox fan and I'm from Boston, I'm hiring this guy. That's what happens, right? People hire the people they like. They don't hire people based on their actual skill sets, mindsets, systems, behaviors, processes, habits, based on that exact role. Because just because a guy or gal was great at selling medical devices doesn't mean they're going to be great selling copiers.
Yep.
But you can't tell. So companies keep guessing and they keep going through sales rep after
money.
sales rep. You got it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well,
Thanks.
we went through a lot of great content, Steve.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. It's nice to talk to a kindred spirit, like I said. You're quite passionate and can tell you're a great sales guy. So I mean, it starts at the top, and being able to spread that across organizations is huge, and the way you're doing it is pretty awesome. So we look forward to sending referrals your way, and hopefully anybody that's got questions. Where we post this on social and in the stable, we'll chime in with questions for you. And then if somebody does want to get in contact with you, is email the best way? Or what's your email address?
A couple things if you don't mind me sharing. So regular site, right, is victoryselling.com. Second one you guys might want to check out is salesdnatest.com. You want to hit me up on Instagram. It's the Steve Heroux. So the THE, right? The Steve Heroux. And then, I'm excited, guys. It's just Steve at Victory Selling. If you'd love to reach out, listen, our goal together really is let's just help more clients be more successful. That's it. No empty promises, no illusions of grandeur. No, you'll have a Bentley tomorrow. None of that garbage you see on social media is real, right? Let's just get better. Slowly but surely learning these skills, processes, habits, and everybody's going to win long term. So, man, thanks again so much for the time, man. We just want to help as much as we can.
Awesome. Love it. Appreciate it.